Now they've got to the point where they're just, kind of like, we used to like black people, but not anymore. And and so well we don't dislike them, but we think DEI is stupid, so we're gonna kind of get rid of it, right? So the Republicans are outraged by it, and then the liberals are like, yeah, we would fight for it, but we got more important things to fight for, and that's whatever, right? So your candy bar is being taken away. Now, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And I can just tell you that jobs, for the most part, they've never really worked for black people. You got to have a better economic plan. Let me explain it another way. I was listening to the Secretary, Treasurer, former Treasury Secretary, or I think, sorry, she's not former Treasury, she is the current Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen. Janet Yellen, the Treasury Secretary, just went to China, and during the time that she was in China, she toured the whole country. It was basically telling them she was doing a Nino Brown from New Jack City. She was playing the dope dealer who basically says, "Y'all infringing on our territory. You can't don't come on our block." That's what she was basically saying. She was telling the Chinese government, "Stop dumping your cars and your solar panels." They were mass producing solar panels in China, and the government's subsidizing it and is dumping it on the market and is putting their companies out of business. What she was basically arguing the entire time, well, she pretty much said, which was really interesting, is that it is against the economic interests of the United States to allow China to subsidize companies to the point where they put our companies out of business. That's what she's basically saying, right? And and what she was effectively arguing is something that I think black people should consider as well, is that when you allow other people to make you dependent on their process, their products, their whatever, then you become vulnerable to that other party. She was defending the interests of the United States by saying, we're not going to become dependent on China for solar panels in electric vehicles, because those are two of the areas that came up. There's some other areas as well. And so, effectively, as black people, instead of just thinking about where you're going to get your next paycheck from, you need to also think about your long-term economic and political security. You have to ask yourself, how healthy is it? Let me know if you're following this. I know I'm making a subtle point here, but how healthy is it to have your financial security controlled and managed by people who don't have a history of doing right by you? I mean, your whole ability to feel safe, it is controlled by somebody else. Your access to happiness is controlled by somebody else. Your self-esteem, your ability to say, I'm proud of myself. Look, mama, I made it. I became somebody. That's all controlled by somebody else. Who was it? Oh gosh. I was talking to an actress in LA who's a producer, writer, director, and who's really talented. And she said that she used to have one of her dream goals as an actress was to be on Saturday Night Live.